Hello everybody, Dr. Bakes here, back with a review for y'all. Everyone, first off, apologies for not uploading recently on YouTube, everybody. Long story short, everybody, I'll make sure me get a little bit sick there, everyone. Not too long after I wrapped up, I had a chance to upload all my parts for my big action figure unboxing video, everyone. The reviews I did there. I ended up getting sick with a cold there. I was sick with cold for a couple weeks there. My time was starting to get over it when the holiday season started up there, and I started getting busy with different things and whatnot, so can't make sure that stuff, everybody. I haven't done any videos on YouTube recently, everyone, so I do apologize to everyone. But I'm going to make up to you all here. Everyone, I decided that today, everyone, I'm going to be bringing back the 12 days of views, everyone. Now, for those of you who are newer viewers, everybody, the 12 days of views, everybody, or views with everybody, or I try to drop one video per day till Christmas Day, everybody, so this would be the first one of everyone, so expect good other videos to be coming up next week or so, everyone, so yeah. Alright, well, this is going to be a kind of bittersweet start by to the 12 days of views, everyone. As everyone, today it's time to record this, everybody, and hopefully I'll get this uploaded before the event actually starts, everybody. Today, everybody, will be, sorry, so everybody, we'll be having John Cena's final match, everybody, where he's going to be facing Gunther, who won the last time's out tournament, and also will be facing tonight, and after that, John Cena's career as a professional wrestler will be over with there, so. For those of you who have seen my wrestling video, or my wrestling, for those who have seen my wrestling related videos, or what, talk about John Cena being one of my favorites of all time, everybody, and I said it's gonna be bittersweet there, whenever it's time for him to retire by, and well, we're now getting pretty dark closer, everyone, so. But everyone, I wanted to do a video, everyone, to kind of share some of the favorite things related with John Cena, everybody, so. And when at first I thought about doing a favorite rivalries video, everyone, like I did back in 2020 when Undertaker retired there, but John Cena, everybody, there's a lot of different things, everybody, that I feel like, even doing rivalries video list, everybody, well, I could potentially do one, and you'll probably get a good idea who probably would have been on that list, everybody, based on what I got here, but instead, everybody, I decided to just do a video, talk about my favorite moments and different things related with John Cena, everybody, so, everyone, this list will be in no particular order, everybody, so it may be a little bit all over the place, everyone, so, but this list will be in no particular order, everyone, and I don't have, every single crazy moment involved with John Cena, everyone, so, and if there's a particular moment that's a favorite of yours on here, that's really fine there. I just figure I give all his, everyone. I try to get as much as I could with John Cena stuff there, so yeah. Without further ado, let's go jump right to here. I'm going to start talking about some of my favorite moments related to John Cena, so like I said, this will be no particular order, everyone, I will start off by kind of going over some of the stuff related with his earliest start by. There was, y'all know, John Cena made his debut in WWE right around 2002. Sorry, I coughed for a second. Sorry, I went my cough there. Hopefully, we won't be after too much here. But it was when John Cena made his debut in 2002, everybody. As we kind of first moved up, everybody. It was an episode of Spender 1, and Kurt Angle was laying an open challenge for anyone to accept there when John Cena stepped up the plate. And Kurt Angle said, well, John Cena, what makes you think you have one of the very best of the business? And Cena goes, ruthless aggression, and sacks Kurt right in the face there. That kind of started the match up there. Even though John Cena fell short of that match up there, it was one of the strongest debuts survived for the ruthless aggression area there. And it did, get John Cena on the right path there. Go up against one of the best in WWE time, Kurt Angle. So, although Cena would have a bit of a bumpy road, everybody. Afterwards, everybody, as not too long after his debut match, everyone did feel like he was losing to Steve there. But then on October episode, everybody, Wood, that's when there's a debut of the Doctor of Thugonomics, everybody. Everybody, those who may not be too familiar with, John Cena did like a freestyle rap thing there in backstage, and Session Band ended up hearing it there, and she was very impressed with John Cena's freestyle rapping there, and decided to do it. She wanted Cena to do that on episode of SmackDown. And that started the Doctor of Thugonomics character change with John Cena, everybody, where he turned heel there, but he got over the fans there, so. And that would eventually start the path there of Cena. That would eventually start the path there by Cena. Eventually with his first title by WrestleMania 20, about a little under 2 years before his debut by, where Cena would face the Big Show for a title there at WrestleMania 20. And Big Show did a great job getting Cena over there, and John Cena hit the attitude adjustment on Big Show there was one of the most memorable moments of WrestleMania 20 there, and him with the U.S. title there. Kind of like the first, it was a cool moment there, seeing John Cena with his first singles title there, and eventually got him on the path to be WWE's next big star there. And Cena would be the main person in the big card division there as U.S. champion. Then 2005 was when they really started to get scenes played for Cena in the main event picture there. And Saw a little bit there by the beginning of the year one with John Cena making it to a follow-2 with Batista in the Royal Rumble match. And led to their famous or infamous spider by where the two of them fall at the same time there. But that was not supposed to happen there. People were a little confused on who won the match or by in. It led to one of the funniest moments of all Vince McMahon won now. Where Vince McMahon got so furious, he walked down the ramp there. He was going to the right, but he ended up tearing both the squads. He was sitting there. And Vince McMahon just kind of ordered the match reset there, the follow-2. And Batista won the Royal match. Even though Cena didn't win, even though Cena did not win that match up there, they kind of show how much WWE was looking about the time there. And that would eventually lead to John Cena as his first big title burst, WWE Championship winner by Wayface JBL by. Everyone I talked about it before during my WrestleMania / Las Vegas trip here one I did a little big couple months ago where my very first big exposure to WWE was WrestleMania 20 winner and it was a cool moment there seeing John Cena win the championship there. JBL did a very good job with the heel character there. And then while they're outside of some parts there where like I talked about before, where our sister had John Cena as a favorite there, and whenever Cena was up against the superstar I like there, I would kind of trash talk about John Cena there. But outside that, I enjoy John Cena there. He would become one of my favorites to watch their fans. Would become one of my favorite people to watch their fans. So that's our birthday there. Sorry, for a second, last bit down. It was everybody. And it was a very memorable moment for me, everybody. It was very cool seeing Cena win the WWE Championship for the first time, WrestleMania 21 there. And that would eventually lead to the next big one, everybody, where John Cena got drafted to Monday Night Raw there. It was a big one for John Cena, everybody. John Cena working hard to fight out there. They got drafted to Raw there. Major shift there. John Cena went down on the main show there for Raw. And WWE was ready to shout the rocket to Cena there, have him be the face of the company there as fancy. And next one, everybody, talk a little bit about everyone. And everyone likes to, there were some people, based on some of the things I've brought up so far, some people I brought up, you probably could get an idea there of some people I probably would have added to Cena's my favorite, if I were to do a favorite rivalries video with John Cena there. But there are some, everybody, where I will admit I did have specifically rivalries there. I enjoyed John Cena's career there. First one I'm going to bring up, everybody, that being Chris Jericho, everyone. Chris Jericho was one of my favorites, everybody, And while I did, I wasn't aware about the stuff there, with him and Cena 2002 there. That was cool looking back on there, back when I was kind of looking back on stuff with Cena there. And my first real engagement with Cena Jericho was back when they were feuding during the summer of 2005 there for the WWE Championship. And Chris did a very good job there, being kind of like foil to John Cena there. Being kind of like first major obstacle for him on Raw to be drafted there, And that would eventually lead to the match where Chris Jericho that would lead to Jericho's his first initial run to WWE there, where he lost the Year of Fire match to John Cena there, But they would pick up a couple years later in 2008 where Jericho was a World Champion. John Cena was coming back from injury there after injury by Batista at SummerSlam. And those two battled each other at Survivor Series for the World Championship there. And while it didn't last a super long time there, I thought it was really cool that WWE reunited the rivalry between Cena and Jericho there. And, it was a rivalry revisit that made sense there, since Jericho, he lost to Cena there, so that, I do remember there was like a promo there where Jericho was furious at some of that stuff there with John Cena, where Jericho's son, he said his favorite wrestler was John Cena there, and Jericho had a little bitterness of John Cena there, so that, because Cena beat him back in 2005 there, so, hey, you got a little more, little personal stakes there in the matchup there. While Cena did come out top there, Jericho, again, did a very good job being a good foil for John Cena there. And this was during probably Jericho's best run as a heel there during the late 2000s there. When he had a second run there, so that, where he had the world title reigns there, and was feuding with the likes of CM Punk, and Chris Jericho, and Batista, John Cena, and Rey Mysterio, and other people there, so that, sorry for calling here. What is it? Now, the next thing I'll talk about, everybody, real quick, everybody, is the rivalry that involves, of John Cena, everybody, that being stuff that everybody, everyone, Edge quickly became one of my favorites, everybody, quickly became one of my favorites, everybody, when I first watched WWE there. Although I'll admit, looking back, it was a little bit of an awkward time, everybody, because, this was back when there was an infamous situation where Matt Hardy was fired by WWE because he found out that Lita, who was his then girlfriend at the time, was cheating on him with Edge. So I was 10 years old. I didn't fully get what was going on there. So, but But Edge, he became that wrestler there you love to hate there, And similar to Chris Jericho, he's a good foil for John Cena there, and those two had a really good series of matches there during their rivalry in 2006. It went back and forth against one another for the WWE Championship there. And that culminated the TLC matchup there, where Cena would beat Edge to win the championship back there, so that. Then it would revisit the rivalry again in 2009 over the World title there. While I still do prefer, their stuff in 2006 there, the 2009 stuff was enjoyable too there, Led to that surprising moment there where Edge was part of the Raw Elimination matchup there. He had Cena's elimination there and would end up becoming the world champion there. And then later that triple threat match, you'd see the Edge and Big Show or something at 25. And then it culminated that last minute same matchup there between Cena and Edge and 2009 back at Backlash there. So yeah. Like I prefer their 2006 rivalry portion of the rivalry, but 2009 was solid as point in their rivalry too there. So yeah. I would kind of go back up in everybody. There was another part by where I did enjoy everybody, that being John Cena's match up and deal with that whole environment there with and Easter way said the 6 series of WWE Championship against Raw everybody. Everyone, RVD, he was another one of my favorites of the tab there, and And this was definitely one, I do remember this to be like one of the first times I was like conflicted on who to root for there between Cena and RVD there and stuff like that. But I remember that crowd, probably the biggest anti-John Cena crowd there at the time, where Cena, despite, being booed out of the building there, and people saying F you Cena, and then that infamous sign there where it says if Cena wins, we riot, John Cena, still held his ground there, took it in, and had a fantastic match with RVD there. That visualized stuff there would still continue with the rivalry with Edge. It gave RVD's big moment there, successfully beating Cena and becoming the WWE champion there. So, and while the aftermath of RVD's title reign wasn't that strong, unfortunately, there due to different things happening. That's one of the most memorable moments everybody growing up watching wrestling there, And a little bit soft for everybody, since that was kind of like my first introduction to ECW there, along with the previous one night stand that happened the year before there. So So I get some extra points for that there too, so yeah. Oh, sorry, one bird stick there. Sorry, one bird stick there, hold last 1 minute. Anyways, everybody, Cena, like I said before, when he would become WWE champion, once again, for giving to a 6-speed Edge TLC. That would lead to his longest reign and tenure as world champion there, holding WWE championship for just a little bit over a year there, where he definitely did some of his best work during that time there. Had a good series of matches with Umaga there, with my favorite other two of them there being the Last Say match there. Did a good job showing Umaga as a dangerous force there, but also showed John Cena's never give up attitude there as well. And, of course, there's also WrestleMania 23, where John Cena went one-on-one with Shawn Michaels there. And up there's one of my favorite matches of John Cena's career there, and one of my favorite matches for HBK, so And like I said, this is kind of similar to RV there, everybody. This is kind of like another period by where two of my favorite wrestlers at the tab there. It's kind of hard to root for everybody, who I would cheer for there. So that was a great matchup there. Yeah. And even though Cena came out top there, Shawn Michaels looked strong to defeat there. It was an awesome matchup there. That was one of my favorite matches I both did there. And well, John Cena would have a very strong 2007 everybody. Unfortunately, he would get injured. Episode Raw there, where he tore his pec there. And I do remember hearing back then it would be like 6 months to a year before Cena recovered there. But it wouldn't be for too long, everybody, as I'll bring up the next Royal Rumble related stuff everybody with John Cena, everybody. That would lead to his return in 2008, everybody, where he was out for like 3 months or so with the injury there. And nobody expected Cena to come back there. And he came out over 30 there. I remember going crazy there, like, holy cow, how did Cena come back so quickly later? Cena would go in, win the matchup there, and stuff like that, so, and I was definitely up there as one of the top moments, everybody, for John Cena there, kind of showing Joyce tenacity there, and resiliency there, be able to come back from a serious injury like a torn pec there, and get back and do what he does best there. Now, I'm not going to break up a whole lot of stuff, everybody, with John Cena in terms of the 2009, 2010 television, everybody, as this was, not necessarily they were bad years for Cena, everybody, but these were the more infamous years of Cena, everybody, where, I feel like this is where, like, the peak dislike for John Cena was at there, everyone, so, and, he had rivalry with Ray Orton. He had his rivalry with Ray Orton for the WWE Championship there, 2009. There was stuff that went on Nexus there and whatnot, There was reports of John Cena's career not a lot of people look back on too fondly there, But 2011 there, would be a big year for John Cena, everybody, but both a little bit of good, bad, everybody, but He did end up having a match with The Miz at WrestleMania 27, which a lot of people consider to be the worst main event match. At least one of the worst main event matches in WrestleMania history there, And it was a little bit backburned by stuff related with The Rock, everyone. Everybody, well, I'm not going to talk about the whole Raw with John Cena, The Rock as a whole, everybody. Everyone, it was cool seeing, different, stuff with John Cena, The Rock there, The Rock coming back there, And after WrestleMania there, they planted the seeds for WrestleMania 28. Anyway, well, everybody, I was excited to check out the match. I've never seen a different match of The Rock, everybody, but the first time seeing The Rock in action there, during this portion there, since he left WWE, Rock left WWE like a year before I got to wrestle everybody in 2005, so it was cool to see The Rock come back there, so that, And, but for the most part, the work that him and John Cena played was good there. They had their tag team match up there, or the Rock team up there, and the WrestleMania 28 match up there. Well, match-wise, they're not the best match in WrestleMania history there. Definitely was a cool moment there, seeing The Rock battle each other there, like one of the dream matches there. A lot of people would see finally coming true there, and The Rock come out top. And that would eventually lead to their final match by WrestleMania 29. Unfortunately, was not as good as their match WrestleMania 28 there. And I do remember that The Rock did get injured during that match, but it was still cool to see them collide back there, And, it was still cool. It was, for the most part, it was cool seeing Cena and The Rock having different interactions with their fans. Yeah. And another one of my favorite rivalries with John Cena and one of my favorite matches with John Cena Willie Town with CM Pucker Anyway, I'm not gonna go too much into everyone, but, Punk had his pipe bomb pro back in 2011 there, And, kind of, there was that blur between the lines there of what was storyline, what was real there, as going into their match at Money in the Bank there, And everyone, their match at Money in the Bank, everybody, one of my favorite matches between both Punk and Cena there, great reaction there, great storytelling there, And it culminated with CM Punk coming out on top of the end there and walking out with the WWE Championship there, so, And they managed to do a pretty good job with the follow-up stuff, everybody, with Cena and Punk there, Anyway, well, there is one thing about... another thing we talk about here to list everybody, a little disappointed there. The final match him and Punk had earlier this year was very good everybody, And it was enjoyable there and better expected there, than what people initially thought about there. So what's gonna happen there, considering Cena and Punk there, they're not old, but they were getting up there in age and whatnot, so yeah. Hang on a second, everyone. Sorry, I covered for a sec. Sorry, I used the bathroom for a sec here. And, apologies for if there was a random noise, everybody. Notification popped up when I pressed the resume button on record here. Anyways, everybody, anyways, everyone. Last thing I'm going to talk about, everybody, that's from the early 2010s, everybody, from John Cena's career, everybody. Is some certain moves, everybody, related with the certain BC car, everybody. Not too long after. Sorry, I burst it there. Not too long after Cena fell short against The Rock at WrestleMania 28. And we're off to WrestleMania, so there was some surprise return of Brock Lesnar there. And that eventually led to their match, Extreme Rules, everybody. Where all Cena did come out on top there. I do remember some people saying Brock should have won since that was his first match back. Kind of showed the match with Umaga there. Kind of shows a good example of, Cena's tenacity there, resiliency, and him live up to the mantra of never giving up there. So, plus, Brock Lesnar would get even with them a few years later at SummerSlam there, where he beat Cena for the WWE World title there. Sorry, what protection there. Sorry, everyone. Everyone, the last couple things that we talked about, everybody, from the 2010s era, John Cena, everybody. First, everybody, it's been more so of a series of moments, everybody, talking with a particular runner, everybody. Begin back when Cena won the United States Championship there for Rusev at WrestleMania 31. And John Cena decided to do the United States Open Challenge Series, everybody, where Cena would defend the U.S. title weekly, everybody, against your people there in the big card. And a lot of really good matches at that time period, everybody. And it definitely freshened up the mid card Cena, everybody, as a lot of people felt at the time the mid card Cena was getting a bit stale there, but Cena helped fresh things up there. It spotlighted different people like Cesaro, Zack Ryder, Neville, and other individuals there, so and they challenged him for the U.S. title there, so it definitely gave Cena some of his best matches there, And I do feel like this is kind of like a turning point there with fans for John Cena, where people start to respect Cena more there, which was good to see at the time, maybe a long time fan of John Cena there. And thanks, everybody. We talk about another rivalry, everybody, that began back in 2016, just a year later, everybody, with the arrival of one of my favorite wrestlers, everybody, that being AJ Styles, everybody. I follow AJ Styles back. I first started watching TNA everybody, which was about a year or so after I started watching WWE. And AJ quickly became one of my favorite wrestlers in TNA there. And it was a bummer to see him go in TNA there, but looking up at what's going on with TNA town there, it was understandable. But AJ still managed to keep himself strong there. Period for New Japan Pro Wrestling there, being part of Bullet Club. They win multiple titles with New Japan Pro Wrestling there. He makes some appearances for ROH as well, And eventually, 2016 everybody is when he signed with WWE Wood. Had a Royal Rumble debut Wood. Things really started picking up for AJ everybody the summer of 2016 everybody, where he began his feud with John Cena everybody. Another dream match situation a lot of people been wanting to see there. Sorry, I coughed for a second. Very excited to match everybody. Definitely some of the best with AJ and Cena there. And did a very good job at, put AJ Styles in that main event scene there. When there were some people doubted if AJ was going to get buried or not there, whatnot. Those series over Cena there. Those series of victories over John Cena there. They also led by AJ Styles as main eventer there. And would eventually let AJ win his first WWE Championship there. But Cena would get somewhat even with AJ there, as those two would have their match at at Royal Rumble 2017, everybody started mixed up years there, where John Cena would win his 16th world title reign there. And the two of them, would pick up not too long ago everybody when they had their match everybody back in Crown Jewel Perth everybody. Fantastic matchup there for both AJ and Cena there. And bittersweet everybody, as that was John Cena's last international matchup there for his farewell tour, and also the start for AJ Styles' retirement tour everybody, as AJ did announce 2026 will be his last full-time year as a professional wrestler there, so sorry about that there. Sorry about that there, hold on a bit. Sorry about everyone. Anyways, everybody, as everyone, not too long after the season was World 17 World Title, he would not hold very long there, as he would lose into the sheer matchup there which would be won by Bray Wyatt. And this would kind of be the period there where John Cena began his part-time appearances there in WWE. We're not really a whole lot to talk about everyone, but outside of what everybody, where Cena, outside of one particular stuff everybody, that being stuff related with Bray Wyatt everybody, who was going by the feed everybody. Around the feed, so everybody, and would eventually you kind of pick up the raw of everybody where they featured 2014 there, but this is around the period where people thought Cena was still buried in talent there and whatnot, so they kind of picked the raw back up there by during the pandemic that would culminate everybody at WrestleMania 36 everybody, where Cena and Bray Wyatt would have their Firefly Funhouse match everybody, which was a very good cinematic matchup there. That kind of rectified what happened back at WrestleMania 30 everybody, having Bray Wyatt come out top against Cena there, but also kind of it was interesting as well, everybody. It kind of looked over Cena's career there, the ups and downs there, some of that exploits with different what ifs there and whatnot, so it was very unique to everybody during a time period where, there weren't any fans around, and WWE had to creative there. And 2020 everybody, WWE would definitely have some stinkers in that year. The Firefly Funhouse match everybody with Cena and Bray Wyatt was definitely one of the top ones for the year there. Everybody, like everyone, Cena will be on and off there for the next few years everyone. And that would eventually lead to last year where John Cena announced 2025 will be his farewell tour everybody. And the last few months we'll be talking about everybody will be related with during the farewell tour stuff everybody. First, everybody, the run itself did not fully live up to the expectation, everybody. It was kind of just ups and downs there. The moment itself, everybody, one of the top moments of the year would that be the heel turn for John Cena, where he won the leadership matchup there. That had him, Cody, and The Rock, and Cena was shaking hands, Cody hugging him there, and Cena's face there expressed change there, and the heel turn had everyone. Everyone likes their with the follow up, everybody. They fully capitalized the heel turn for everybody. The moment itself, everybody, was awesome to see there, and like I said, that one of the top moments of the year would. And this next one, everybody, for those of you who have seen my Veer would about WrestleMania 41 and my trip to Las Vegas, y'all may have seen this one cover would. While the match itself, looking back on it, was not the best there. The moment afterwards, everybody, it was still cool to see everybody for me. That being Cena with his 17th world title at WrestleMania 41, everybody. Now, some people may not have this moment on their moments list there for John Cena would, and understandable to everybody, due to the match, not fully lived up to expectations there, and of course the stuff with Travis Scott there. But for me, everybody, a little of a soft spot would. As like I said, everyone, my first big exposure to WWE there in wrestling in general was WrestleMania 21 there, and going to WrestleMania 41. I guess I can use the bathroom quick. Sorry, I had to make a quick trip to the restroom there. But anyways, everybody, I think how I was saying would. I get some people not having Cena win his 17th world title there by not having all their favorite like moments of Cena there. For me, everybody, CC wins first world title, WrestleMania Wade would, and be there live, WrestleMania 40 would, win his last world title. Personally, everyone, it's up there, one of my favorite moments there. And like I said, everyone, the heel turn with Cena, everybody, if we had some downs, everybody, didn't really fully capitalize everybody on it. Not entirely Cena's fault there, more so The Rock, not doing way more follow-ups there with stuff that happened in Elimination Chamber, But that would, Cena's heel turn would come to everybody, and he'd go back to sort of being babyface again, everybody, join his match with Rhodes, and those two have an awesome match, everybody, definitely a match that you're contender with those two, as he's been back on a babyface run for a remainder of his retirement tour there. Which would lead to the last moment we can talk about everybody, the most recent one, everybody. It happened a little while ago, everybody, on Monday Night Raw, everybody, where John Cena was. This is a hometown of Boston, everybody. Made his last appearance in Boston, and had stuff with Dominic Mysterio go on. And that would lead to the impromptu match with Dominic and John there, where John Cena would end up defeating Dominic Mysterio there, and would win the Intercontinental Championship, everybody, and become a Grand Slam champion there. And I do remember some fans talking about how cool it would be if Cena won the Intercontinental Championship there before his retirement tour came to end. I didn't know for sure if WWE were actually going to do it. I'm glad I did there. Dominic, he's been one of the best heel characters everybody in WWE right now. Yeah, so I say, can everybody be a little bit of edge there in regards of that guy you just love to hate there and whatnot. So they do a very good job there with it. It's good for John Cena there. And even though Cena's reign as our old champion would not last long, as Dominic would win back at Survivor Series, it was cool seeing Cena get a chance to win your call title, become Grand Slam champion there. One last accomplishment there before his retirement tour comes to an end there. So, anyway, that pretty much covers a lot of the different things everybody kind of talk about, some favorite moments and different things throughout John Cena's career by. So, I say there was a little rambly there, but there was a lot to cover by, but they did a pretty good job. Kind of go over Cena's career there and kind of talk about different favorite moments and stuff there, different parts of his career there and whatnot. But yeah. And it's going to be bittersweet to everybody when he has his retirement match at, everyone. So, John Cena, on behalf of wrestling fans everywhere, we thank you for all you've done there. Or something I miss you, man. And make sure, do your best out there tonight, John. Well, everybody, that'll pretty much things up for now, everyone. I'll be dropping some more views, everybody, for the 12 days videos, everyone. So, like I said, this will be the first of them to come out to everybody. So, make sure to stay tuned, everybody. Make sure I have another review to everyone. But until everything's up for everyone. If you all like what you saw here, make sure to like button, new channel, subscribe, and bell notification, shy calls, for uploads. Everybody have heard about the new hype feature for YouTube, so if y'all want to have a hype points video, hype points to my videos, everyone, this video would appreciate there. More videos coming soon, everyone. Till I'll see you all next time. Her make say out. Peace.